Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So, the week is about to start. Bitcoin holders, you guys need to watch out for massive volatility. There are a lot of things happening this week, a lot of things we need to pay attention to. So, let's talk about it, and let's talk about why they will cause volatility. All right, let's do it. Welcome, guys. Good morning. We are starting the day with Bitcoin at 62,500. So unfortunately, a little bit lower than yesterday. And hopefully, most of you guys caught my Sunday walk video that I posted on my CryptosRUs Plus channel. And yes, it's been there for many weeks. And yes, all of you guys should subscribe to that channel to watch it. But I did present two scenarios for Bitcoin in the near term, in short term. And you know what? It's looking like it's happening, right? So if you missed it, you need to go and watch it. But this morning, I was looking at what to expect for this week, and we have a lot to expect this week. First of all, in the US, look at everything that's coming out from an economic data standpoint. Okay, we have a ton of economic data coming out. Obviously, we had some bad data last week, which I've already talked about. Lower GDP numbers and higher inflation numbers. Those are no good. Okay, but this week, we'll get more data that kind of shows whether those two are accelerating or not, right? And more importantly, on Wednesday, we will have another FOMC meeting. And everyone will be watching closely to what Powell says during his press conference and during Q&A. It's so important that maybe I'll live stream that one. Maybe, no promises. But because of all the bad data that came out last week, and we still have some data coming out this week, right? Like payroll numbers, manufacturing numbers, job jolts openings, all these things. Unfortunately, payroll and unemployment rate will come later this week, but there will be a lot of data to digest, and everyone wants to know what Powell is going to say. He's basically faced with an impossible task of fixing the economy with very bad data. Okay, that's the bottom line. Now, Wall Street's anticipating that this FOMC meeting, there's basically zero chance that there will be any kind of movement with the interest rates. So right now it's 97.1% that we will stay put. But what's interesting, in June, okay, there's still, at least Wall Street's predicting that there's a 11% chance that Powell may cut rates in June. I think at this point there would be 0% chance that there will be a cut in June. In fact, there's talks about a raise, not a cut at this point. So we'll see. This week is going to be absolutely volatile, I believe. And it also really depends on what Powell says. Because if he turns really hawkish again, that would be really bad. Okay, that's where the volatilities really go kick in. But all these numbers that are coming out will be, I think they'll cause some movement. Now, it's not just Powell, although I think that's the major cause for volatility this week. But you know what? There are a lot of earnings as well, okay, from all the major players, all the big players, okay? Apple, Amazon, AMD, PayPal, Block. You got Coca-Cola, Starbucks, and even Coinbase, Block. They're both crypto related, right? But I think the earnings will foretell a little bit, about what these companies are going through, and more importantly, what they're seeing, right? A lot of companies had spectacular earnings, like Meta has spectacular earnings, but gave a really dire forecast that crashed their stock. So a lot of these companies that are producing commodities, are they going to say the same thing? And same thing with these tech companies. Are they going to say the same thing? I think this will also cause some volatility for this week, seeing how many companies are going to report. So there's that as well. But that's not all. That is not all. And you know, when I say volatility, most people interpret volatility as going downwards only. Okay, no, that doesn't mean. It just means that the price could fluctuate up and down. Doesn't mean that it has to go down, but in most cases it does. But we do have more ETF news. So now Australia, okay, wants to approve Bitcoin spot ETFs. So that is absolutely fantastic. Okay, the more places that we have Bitcoin spot ETFs, the better. And we know that Hong Kong is ready to go live. I guess it was my mistake. I was hearing that Hong Kong was going to go live with their spot ETFs, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Okay. Well, no, maybe it is. Because I just realized this is from 5 days ago. It's supposed to be this week. So I don't know how that's going to be. I don't know if it's actually started today or not. I need to get updated. But yeah, I thought it was this week, right? And then, of course, now we have Australia wanting to do the same thing. So this could all lead, or both of these and everything else, could all lead to, of course, upwards movement, right? And same thing with the U.S. Like right now, it does seem like the U.S. ETFs have stalled a little bit, okay? And unfortunately, with their stalling, Grayscale is not stalling. Grayscale is still selling, which is the unfortunate situation where, you know, we still have this downward pressure from the ETFs, mostly from one entity, and that's Grayscale, right? But, you know, who knows? Hong Kong and Australia, I don't know when Australia is going to go live, right? They could bring some good volatility, some good price action to Bitcoin in the near future, right? And here's the interesting thing. If you look at number of cryptocurrency users in different regions, you would figure North America is leading. But in fact, North America is among the lowest of the continents. Asia is, 3 times higher in terms of number of cryptocurrency users? That's actually quite amazing. So if Hong Kong turns out to be a huge success, we will see massive amount of retail investors and, more importantly, institutional investors come into Bitcoin and possibly Ethereum, right? Once their ETFs start trading. So we have that to look forward to this week. Hopefully. I need to do more research. I swore that they were going to go live this week, but maybe they haven't yet, but we'll see. But that could be very, very good as well. Okay? And here's the thing. Even though this article is looking at Bitcoin ETF slowdown, right? You could argue ETF slowdown or just Bitcoin slowdown, okay? And many people feel like, hey, this is now a beginning of a negative trend. Maybe Bitcoin has hit its peak for this year, and we're only going to see downtrends from here, okay? Some people are thinking that. I am not one of those people because I don't believe that where we are in this cycle and where we are overall is going to make Bitcoin pause permanently and have a non-existent cycle, right? That is not the case. That's not the case. There will be times. I mean, seriously, it seems like it's so dire right now. It seems like, oh, Bitcoin has been going down forever. I think most people just have short-term memories and didn't look back maybe 3 months ago or 6 months ago, and people have forgotten how dire it was before when we were hovering at 30,000 or 40,000. And the simple fact is this: we already broke 2021 highs, and we broke it several times. And we were just at 70,000 just a few weeks ago. So where we are right now is not so bad and not so dire. The whole market is not crashing down to let's just say to 2022 levels, okay? Or even 2023 levels, okay? There will be times where Bitcoin becomes stagnant. and comes down a little bit. Some retracements may happen, right? But this is not a negative trend. And some people, I think, are starting to feel like, oh yeah, we're in a negative trend and it's been happening forever. No, it has not. Okay? And here's a really good telling story. And what I always say, why does Bitcoin go up? Well, it's just a matter of supply and demand, right? You have more demand than supply, the price goes up. It's really that simple. So if you look at all the major exchanges, and then look at how much have exited those exchanges in the last 30 days and how much have exited year to date since the beginning of the year. That's a telling story. Okay, if you look at year to date, maybe Bybit, Kraken, OKX, and Gemini actually had a little bit of inflows. But if you look at someone like Coinbase, year to date, that's staggering. Year to date, they have 131,513 outflow. And where do you think all that Bitcoin went to? Well, the ETFs and the institutions, right? Bitfinex also saw a huge outflow since the beginning of the year. Even Binance and Bitflyer and Bitstamp, all other exchanges, right? So overall, year to date, all the exchanges have lost about 150,000 Bitcoin. So the supply continues to go down. It's really that simple. The supply is diminishing from the exchanges. And since we had a halving event, that means the inflation rate of Bitcoin is now at half of before. There's only 450 being produced per day rather than 900. 450 per day. Think about it. Being distributed across the world, that's so little. So ultimately, Bitcoin is going to continue to go higher because there's more demand than supply. It's really that simple. And then there's other things, macro things that makes Bitcoin's price go even higher. For example, inflation. That's a very confusing thing, but people don't realize when you have high inflation, it causes everything to get more expensive, including assets. So if we have hyperinflation, it makes everything expensive, food more expensive, services more expensive, houses and cars more expensive, and it's going to make Bitcoin more expensive as well. And there's nothing that out appreciates Bitcoin in the long term. There's nothing. And here's another interesting fact. There isn't that many Bitcoin holders right now, right? So if you're among the very few that are holding some Bitcoin, you're already ahead of the game. And if you actually hold one single Bitcoin, if you're a whole coiner, you're really ahead of the game. Okay, so if you look at all the addresses in existence, if you look at the balances between 1 to 10, there's only 859,000 addresses, and it only makes up 1.88 of the entire address pool. Okay, so if you're already between 1 to 10, you're already in the upper 2% of all Bitcoin holders. But that's just Bitcoin holders. What about among 8 billion people? Well, you're in the upper 0.01% or even less than that. And keep in mind that 859,000, that's just measuring addresses. That's not measuring people. Most people that have more than one Bitcoin already have like 5 to 10 addresses. So if you divide that number, I would say probably at least by 5, probably even more, right? But I would say overall, there's probably only 100,000 people on the planet that holds more than one Bitcoin. 100,000 out of 8 billion. So if you're in that category, think about it. You're already way ahead of the game. And Bitcoin will continue forward, right? And I saw this too. Let's play this. This is a good one from Michael Saylor. All right, let me prepare my thing here.
I've never met any critic that spent 100 hours studying Bitcoin. I don't think there is anybody in the world that spent 100 hours studying Bitcoin that's critical of it.
How many hours did you spend studying the currency?
I think when I looked at it for an hour or 2 or 10 hours, I thought, in 2030, I said, maybe it's going to go the way of online gambling. Maybe it'll get banned. When you spend up to 10 hours, you think, oh, maybe, and you're skeptical. But when I got to 100 hours, I started thinking, hey, this is better than gold. This is a really good idea, a digital asset. And when I got to 1,000 hours, I realized that this is probably the best asset. And then somewhere past a few thousand hours, you start to conclude this is an instrument of economic empowerment. This represents property rights for 8 billion people. This represents the singularity where engineering and science and mathematics crashes into economics and politics. And now economics is going to be a science or an engineering discipline, not an art or a pseudoscience type discipline.
I didn't even get that last part. Like, I really don't get how there's a singularity where engineering and science and mathematics crashes into economics and politics. But if you think about it for a little bit, it actually does make sense. But, this is how, Saylor's knowledge of Bitcoin is like up here where everyone is like down here, right? And he's exactly right. He's exactly right. Other than maybe Peter Schiff, that has studied Bitcoin for more than, I don't know, 100 hours. Here's the thing. I don't know if this is true, but I'll share this story. I've never shared it before. I've only recently learned of this. So when I was in Dubai and I was at one of these yacht parties, who was there? Brock Pierce was there. He's a eccentric guy, to say the least. But he's a Bitcoin billionaire, and he's neighbors with Peter Schiff. So he tells me, I introduce myself and I talk to him, and he tells me that they have conversations all the time. And recently, he did have a conversation with Peter, and he said this. This is what Brock said to me. So. That Peter admitted to Brock that he should have bought Bitcoin years ago, and he regrets not doing so. And it is in Brock's opinion that he has to put on this, Bitcoin bear stance because that's just his shtick, right? Like, he can't go away from that. He can't turn bullish on Bitcoin all of a sudden, right? So I think we all secretly knew that, but I got confirmation from Brock. That's exactly how he feels. All right. Anyways, just sharing that. To move on, what else is there? Well, outside of Bitcoin, there are other things happening, right? Even though volatility is driving everything down, it could be a good thing. So according to this, 6-month low in Ethereum fees suggests that altcoin season is inbound. Okay, now I guess it kind of makes sense, right? When activity becomes really, really, really low with alts, in particular Ethereum, well, that does mean that, hey, maybe that's a bottom point, right? A capitulation point. It could be. But you know what? I think it really depends on Bitcoin, right? What Bitcoin's going to do. Again, if you didn't watch my Sunday walk video, you guys should head over to CryptosRUs Plus. I gave 1 or 2 scenarios, and one of them is starting to play out. And you know what? We'll see. We'll see. Like I said, what we're going through right now, right, is temporary. If you truly understand, if you're like Saylor, if you truly understand Bitcoin, right? And I don't even think I studied Bitcoin for 10,000 hours like he did. 10,000 a lot, maybe a few thousand. I think I have. But if you truly understand Bitcoin, there's no way you could turn bearish. You just know, right? So you just got to stay strong, stay focused, and the ultimate strategy is what I've been telling guys all along. Just continue to HODL and DCA. That's really it. That's all you need to do. There's no other magical formula that you need to apply. Just HODL and DCA, right? Oh yeah, this is about little. Basically, the number Eth Staked. So holding could mean staking too, if you count that. I think you do. You do count that. But anyways. All right, that is pretty much it. Unfortunately, with the market open, Bitcoin is showing a little bit more volatility. Yeah, kind of expected. What is the U.S. market opening at? I think probably. You know what? Actually, in the green right now, but I think Nasdaq is going to start sliding. All right, let's do some Q&A. Daniel Anthony above says, Georgia has made me a lot of money. Try listening instead of sharing your FUD. Yes, unfortunately. I saw someone comment on one of my videos. I forgot which video. And it says something along the lines like, yeah, you always say the same thing. Eventually you'll be right. A broken clock is right twice a day. And I'm just thinking, I was going to respond, but I'm just thinking like, Bitcoin is in the 60s. Like, how could you be bearish, right? Unless you bought at 73,000, maybe. But most people are in the green already. My DCA portfolio proves that. If you've been holding and DCAing, you're in the green. So, again, I think a lot of people turn negative really quickly. And I know that we all have emotions, and it sucks to see things go down for a prolonged period of time, but we have lived through worse. We have lived through much worse, and this is just a temporary thing, right? And just don't be discouraged. Just focus on doing what you're doing, and you'll be just fine. All right. People are saying Tesla is exploding right now. The funny thing is, my friends are really into Tesla. And, with last week's pump and today's pump, Tesla fans are only down 40% for the year. That's the running joke. Eric says Pepe would crash YouTube the Peppening. Okay, why is that relevant to what we're talking about right now? Millie, I listened to you talk about cats versus dog flipping. So you inspired me to create Chi Inu, a dog flipping, fighting cat invasion. No thanks. Yeah, no. No thanks. Jolamas. What? Wait, George, do you think that Polygon and Cosmos still have a chance to hit their all-time high again? They're lagging, but they are some of the most fundamentally sound and adaptive projects, which gives me hope. Yes, they will. There's no doubt about it, they will. But how much they move after they hit their previous high, that's the question. I think almost everything will hit their previous high. But what will they do afterwards? Will they just stay there, or will they do a 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x? I don't know. They have been really stagnant. I think Cosmos held back by their token economics. Polygon is held back because I've been hearing through grapevines that Polygon doesn't really know what their future is. They're pushing all gaming projects to immutable. So they're trying to focus just on DeFi, and they're losing because the layer twos are doing so well. So they're kind of stuck right there between a rock and a hard place. And they're still transitioning to Pol 2, their new token. So they're kind of like in transition, and they seem a little bit confused about what they want to do. So I think they're being held back because of that. But I think both will still hit their previous high. But afterwards, how much do they go? I don't know. Do you think a centralized exchange for Solana is needed? A new SolX? Is the project just asking for a profit? No, that makes no sense to me. Like, why do you need a centralized exchange on top of Solana when we have plenty of centralized exchanges out there that you can buy Solana on already? That makes no sense to me. And I don't know why any new project would call themselves a centralized exchange. That's just stupid. Call yourself, or make a DEX that has order books and looks and operates like a centralized exchange, but don't call yourself a centralized exchange. That defeats the ethos of crypto, right? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. One of the things, Pedro, people having fun with me, one of the things, I've said in my Sunday video, I made a comment about memes, and I think this is true. There are still a lot of people that are into memes, and I will continue to support memes to the very end here, because I think memes are still good, and they do a lot, and they make a lot of people a lot of money. But here's the thing with memes. You got to be careful right now, okay? Because very little of them actually hold. Even the hottest ones that have gone all the way up are now coming down really fast because a lot of retail sentiment is turning bearish, because these are the people that don't really believe in Bitcoin and never understood Bitcoin. So a lot of them are pulling their money out, right? So if you make money on memes right now, it's important to take profits out ASAP. I know a lot of people hold on to their memes hoping that it's going to become the next Whiff or Pepe or Bonk or whatever. Right now is not that time. When the market gets really hot again and Bitcoin starts smashing through its previous highs and gets to 80, 90, 100,000, you'll see more memes hit in multi-billion-dollar levels, right? But right now, a lot of memes are crashing down. So if you make money from memes, make sure you take your profits out. Yuwu, I don't know if that's how you say it. Which altcoins are you most bullish on for this bull run? You know what? I'm still most bullish on Solana and Solana-based projects right now. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I think there are a lot of good things on Solana. But outside of Solana, I think AI narrative is going to be big. I think DePIN is going to be big. And there are a lot of projects within each ones. So yeah, I appreciate that. New member. I do like Avalanche quite a lot. And Near is more interesting because they're in AI and they've been pumping hard. Chainlink is also good. I'm not gonna go through a whole list, but there are a lot of really good projects in here that I've gone through the list. And maybe I'll do that later this week, where I'll go through a list again. But there are a lot of great projects. Helium Mobile. I've had people tell me they switched to Helium Mobile and it's been fantastic so far. It's actually using T-Mobile's network. So if T-Mobile has good signal, you go get good signal with Helium. But Helium also utilizes their own 5G network in conjunction with T-Mobile, and it's supposed to be super cheap, $20 a month, unlimited everything. It sounds like a pretty good deal. I don't know. I may give it a try sometime. GS, what are your thoughts on rug and scams in the crypto space? I think they're great. I love to see rugs and scams all the time. I mean, GS, not to be a dick, but like, what kind of question is that? Of course, I don't like to see rugs and scams. Soulfinger's developing TG-Bot to scan contracts. I mean, there's a lot. There are a lot of firms that already does that, but it's pretty obvious to see a scam. You know the saying, if it looks like a duck and it sounds like a duck and it walks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Like, it's kind of, I don't know if that's how the saying goes. I just made that up. But that's kind of how honeypots and scams and rugs, they are. A lot of times you could tell just from the people that are running it and the way they move, you know, and if you just spend 5 minutes to look at the top holders, whether or not the liquidity is locked, you know, there are a lot of signs that you can look at, and you're, 90% of the time you're going to be right. Battles Sacred Lion. Crypto.com is official sponsor of Miami Grand Prix and also has a Crypto.com arena in Los Angeles. Don't you think Kronos token will take off with that utility? Well, tell me what utility there is by sponsoring the Grand Prix and the Crypto.com arena in Los Angeles. That doesn't make any sense. Just because they have money to spend doesn't mean that there's a utility. Now, I know Kronos is its own chain, and there are dexes and memes on top of Kronos, but all the ones that came out before were all kind of like shady and iffy, and I haven't really heard of any official, not official, but really good projects that's on top of Kronos. I like to see some of those exist first. Milo says Forta helped against scams on many companies. Yeah, that's good. Never heard of Forta before. The Alley says FTX sponsored a lot of stuff. I was going to bring that up, but I didn't want to compare Crypto.com to FTX because they are not. But yeah, a lot of projects have spent an enormous amount of money to do a lot of sponsorships. Thankfully we didn't have an FTX chain. But Kronos is different, and I know they're different, and I know Crypto.com is different. But, I just need to see some good projects, that's all. I'm not against them. I'm just not as bullish as some people are on them. Thoughts on holding Bolden and Trump meme coins until November? Not for me. The one time I got into a political meme, I got burned. And both of those two are not gonna hold, right? So no, not for me. Maybe they'll do well at MCT. You could try, but not for me. See, look at the comment from Layeth Hindi. Bro keeps on repeating that we'll go up until we go to zero. I mean, seriously. Are you a 16-year-old? Or are you like, did you buy at 73,000? Yeah, I've been saying the same thing since since 3,000 Bitcoin, and we're at 60,000. So, Lathe, what more do you want? What more do you want? From 3,000 to 60,000 to 70,000 actually. You can look up GHX, the Deepin AI gaming project. Gamer coin. Someone asked me about this the other day. Yeah, someone did ask me about this the other day. It sounds interesting, but I don't know enough about it. Official partnership with Sandbox. And Other Side. Man, Other Side really rugged me a lot. Those NFTs I bought, worth nothing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about this, but they seem to be in the right spot. Obviously, Deepin and gaming and AI, they just kind of threw AI in there. It's one to keep your eyes on. I'm going to do more research into them. Is there any concern with tokenomics of SUI? Let's see. Well, yeah, they only launched 13% of their total supply. That is a little bit low. If you look at their fully diluted market cap, they're really high at 12 billion already. Not sure the reason why they did that. Interesting. Well, it's not a concern, but something to keep track of, right? If they start unlocking a lot of tokens in the future, that could definitely put, a barrier on how high they can go because of how much they may be releasing in the future. So, something to keep your eyes on. Oh, shoot. Just click on something. William says Wolf Swap is a good DEX on Chronos and Poly. Crowwood Knife start on Chronos is on base in Solana, and Bitmart went to 73 million. Chronos meme season is starting. Sorry, George. No, it's not. No, it's not. And good for you. And here's the thing. If you have a meme that started, okay, and just because it starts going to other chains doesn't mean it's like a legit project and has interoperability. It just means there's copycats that's happening. So I think you should know that if it started on Chronos and is now on Base and Solana, that's a very bad thing for it. Because others are they're just going to put their liquidity into those chains instead. I told the guy the guitar I was selling had AI. He gave me full price. Told him the case was the extra 1,000, but it was the blockchain for the AI. I put $1,500 more. What? You go get a timeout for just telling a stupid story. Your thoughts on Jupiter? Is $15 possible? I have no idea. Let me see. $15, a 15x from here. It's possible, but then also looking at the circulating supply, you know, Jupiter only did one airdrop so far, and they have 4 planned, right? I think 1 per year. So as we move forward, next year they'll have another airdrop that will release a lot of tokens. So that also may hold Jupiter back a little bit because there are still a lot of unlocks or airdrops that'll be coming up. But I do believe in Jupiter, and they are a fantastic DEX. If you use Jupiter, I mean Radium, if you use Radium, it actually really sucks. But Jupiter solves all the problem Radium has, basically. Jupiter is super fast, slick, and easy to use. That's why it's doing so well. Can I get life insurance on Charles? If he goes, ADA is done. Yeah. It's just like Tesla. If Elon goes, Tesla is done. Yes. Soya. Okay, message retracted. William says bridge, not copy. That doesn't mean... Okay, thanks. But doesn't mean that crow with knife is going to the moon. In fact, I bet if I check it, it's gone down since its peak. I'm almost certain that it has gone down. Solarium chain, massive things going on, mainnet launch imminent, patent pending products, connection with Tesla and SpaceX. I'll guarantee it has 0 connections with Tesla and SpaceX. 0. Super proficiency? No. No, I will not. No, I will not. All right, guys. So, to conclude, you know what we're going through? We're going through a fuddish time. This week, I think we will see massive volatility, so watch out for that. We have a lot of economic data to go through. We have a FOMC meeting to live through, okay? Those are going to be scary. Very, very scary. We got a lot of earnings, but we also have some good news. Hong Kong may be starting their ETFs already, or maybe soon. So stay strong, my friends. Strap on, HODL, and DCA. All right. And I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right. Take care.